Part 1. The Calm Before the Storm, Expanded Version. I never thought anything unusual would happen on Cedar Lane. It's the kind of street where people wave at each other, lawns are perfectly trimmed, and everyone knows everyone's business.
Me?
I liked it that way. Quiet, predictable, safe. That's why I bought the house here. My first place, all on my own. I had routines. Coffee at 7, jog at 7:30, grocery shopping on Wednesdays, dinner at 6. The world outside could spin however it wanted. I had my predictable bubble, my little sanctuary, until he moved in. At first, he seemed normal. Too normal. Always smiling, always friendly. He introduced himself as Mr. Black. He was younger than the usual retirees on the street. Dark hair, sharp eyes, a smile that didn't quite reach them. He brought cookies, asked polite questions, made conversation about neighbors, the weather, the best pizza place nearby. Everyone adored him. Everyone, that is, except me. There was something about his eyes. Something that flickered too quickly, disappeared if you tried to focus. A shadow behind the smile that I couldn't shake. I tried to convince myself it was paranoia. Maybe I was overthinking. The first night I noticed it, I shrugged it off. But the knock came the second week. 2 a.m. A soft, almost polite knock. My heart skipped a beat. I live alone. I always lock the doors. Nobody's supposed to be outside at that hour. I tiptoed to the door. The floor creaked. I paused. The doorknob trembled slightly under my fingers. I opened it. Nothing. Just an envelope on the welcome mat. Inside, a photograph. It was me, sleeping. I live alone. My phone hadn't rung. Cameras hadn't picked anything. And yet there it was, a photo of me completely unaware, completely vulnerable. On the back was a small key, taped with black electrical tape. No note.
No explanation.
Just the key. I tried to rationalize it. A prank. A cruel joke. Someone from work? But no one knew I lived here. The police took a report, but without fingerprints or witnesses, there was nothing they could do. I stayed awake that night. Every creak, every shadow, every wind gust made my stomach twist. Around 2 a.m., I saw him. Mr. Black. He slipped out of his house, moving silently, like he belonged to the shadows. He paused in the street, scanning. His eyes, they never rested, never blinked in the way normal people's do. And then he disappeared into the darkness. I couldn't sleep.
For nights, I watched.
The knock came again, then another envelope, another photo. Each time, closer to my bedroom window, closer to me. The neighbors? They all defended him. He's a great guy, they said. Always helping, always smiling. No one had seen the photos. No one had heard the knocks. Only I did. Only I. I checked the key. It fit. Not my door. Not my mailbox. But a small lockbox buried beneath the back porch, one I'd never noticed. Inside, a notebook. Pages of names, addresses, dates. Hundreds of photos. Everyone on the street. All watched. All cataloged. And there I was. I started noticing patterns. Shadows in windows that shouldn't be there. Cars parked on our street for hours with no driver inside. Sounds outside that didn't match the usual suburban quiet. I became obsessed. Every detail mattered. Every tiny irregularity was a clue. I followed routines, memorized who left when. I watched Mr. Black. He moved at night, precise, deliberate. Sometimes he paused, listening, as if he could hear me breathing from inside. Sleep became impossible. My apartment felt like a cage. Every reflection, every sound, every flicker of movement outside felt threatening. I started writing notes, mapping patterns, marking times, trying to make sense of the growing dread in my chest. Then came the whispers. At first, I thought I imagined them. Low, almost inaudible voices when I was alone. Sometimes in my dreams, repeating names. My name, Mr. Black's voice, or was it someone else's? I couldn't tell. I started seeing more than shadows. One night, I saw a figure standing at the edge of my yard, masked, motionless, watching. I froze, unable to breathe. It vanished when I blinked. I tried to leave, go stay somewhere else, but something always brought me back. The fear, the curiosity, the need to know why he was watching. And then I found the next clue. A door in the basement of his house, slightly ajar, just visible through the window across the street. A faint light inside. Shadows moving. Shapes I couldn't identify. And then the smell, metallic, like rust and damp earth, something decayed. I knew then. This wasn't just a neighbor. This was a person living another life. A life that involved me and probably everyone else on Cedar Lane. That night, I didn't sleep. I watched from my window until sunrise. Every creak, every movement made my heart race. And I knew, with chilling certainty, that Mr. Black knew I was watching him. I was already in his game. And I didn't know the rules. Part 2. The shadow behind the smile. Days passed. Or maybe weeks. Time lost meaning. I kept seeing him, Mr. Black, moving through the street at odd hours. Sometimes he walked with purpose, carrying nothing. Other times, I saw him hauling strange boxes, disappearing into alleys, or crouching behind bushes as if he was waiting for something or someone. I started taking notes. Every movement, every encounter, every knock at the door. I began to notice patterns. The envelopes always came after certain events, after a neighbor's car left, after a dog barked, after a streetlight flickered. It was like he was orchestrating the world around me, a puppeteer pulling invisible strings. Sleep became a distant memory. I started drinking coffee at night just to stay awake. I stopped answering my phone. Every notification felt like a trap, every stranger on the street a threat. My apartment became a surveillance station. I lined windows with mirrors, set up cameras, and even rigged a few homemade alarms. And then, one evening, the first confrontation happened. I saw him in my backyard. Well, across the fence, crouched low. My heart raced. I wanted to scream, to call the police, but I knew they wouldn't believe me. I grabbed the flashlight I'd hidden in my drawer and shone it toward him. He didn't run. He didn't flinch. He just looked straight at me. And for the first time, I saw it clearly. The flicker in his eyes, the shadow behind the smile. It wasn't human, or at least not fully. He turned and walked away, disappearing into the night like a phantom. The next morning, I found another envelope. This time, it contained a single Polaroid. Me, standing at my window, flashlight in hand, looking straight at him. He was closer than I thought. I decided I needed help. I reached out to an old friend, someone I could trust. His name was Jason. I hadn't seen him in years, but he had a background in investigative work. When I showed him the photos, the key, and the notebook, he went pale. "This is serious," he said. "You're dealing with someone organized, meticulous. Someone who knows how to hide in plain sight. You can't just confront him alone." Together, we started planning.
Surveillance.
Mapping his movements. Tracking patterns. We discovered something chilling. Mr. Black wasn't just observing me. He was collecting information on multiple neighbors. Patterns of life, routines, weaknesses. And the notebook suggested something even darker, a game or a ritual that included everyone on the street. As the nights went on, the tension escalated. I began seeing things in my own home. Objects moved, doors unlocked that I knew I'd locked, faint noises echoing from empty rooms. Sometimes it felt like I was losing my mind. Sometimes I wondered if I even wanted to know the truth. One night, Jason and I decided to follow him. From a distance, we watched as he entered a house at the end of Cedar Lane, a house I hadn't even noticed before. Lights flickered inside. Shadows moved past the windows. And then we saw them, other people, masked, silent, performing actions I couldn't fully understand. It looked like some kind of ceremony, a secret gathering hidden in the night. We almost didn't leave alive. One of the figures noticed us, or, at least, it felt like they did. A chill ran down my spine as we retreated into the darkness, heart pounding. I realized then that this wasn't just about me. Cedar Lane itself was a stage for something I couldn't comprehend. And Mr. Black, he was the director. But I couldn't stop. I needed to know. I needed to see the truth, even if it destroyed me.